live.
Well, welcome to a fresh takeover. And what are we calling this event?
I would say chill and chat because I'm chilled. I'm in my room. I've got my PJs on. I've got my chai latte here in my Wonder Woman
Okay,
cup. So chill and chat. Chill and chat.
okay. And today I'm dressed as a saucy strawberry because things are about to get fruity.
And a little bit seedy.
I believe so. So, what are we going to start talking about today?
What sauce do you want to bring to the table?
Well, I think we need to start talking about the subject that people have been talking about with this lady in London that's had sex with over 1,000 people.
Isn't it 1,057?
Well, um, I guess that's what they're saying. I wasn't in the room, so I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
Or was I?
Well, that's the word on the street. The word on the street is that you definitely showed up.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I can't show my face right now. You know, when they
Yeah.
hear the voice, people can assume that they think they know it is, but you know, it's too much sauce. But
Mhm.
anyway, so I'm reading comments and I'm hearing people talk about how could she be someone that slept with so much people? Um, is it possible? Some people saying it's disgusting. Some people saying live your life. Some people saying how could you check all the penis sizes before you shoot? There's a lot of things, and how did people get prepared for it? What's your view on this subject? Like, as a female, what is your view on the subject?
I have some opinions, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day what people think because she's done it now anyway, right? So it's not like they can change the past. But I just think, like, I don't know, just the logistics as a woman going into it. Like, I was thinking, if I was ever to do anything like that, which, I'm not judging the girl, like, but if I was, there would be certain things I need to make sure are in place. Number one, there needs to be an abundance of lube because the amount of friction after 1,000 men, even after 10, that's going to be insane. Number two, yeah, I think I would need to like measure up the guys. On this occasion, size definitely matters, and the smaller the better. Do you know what I mean? Because imagine you're getting some gargantuan guys up there stretching you out, yeah. After like the first few guys, it's gonna be impossible. I don't know. I haven't given it much thought, but that thought definitely did cross my mind.
So there's a few things that I would like to say. And first of all, I would like to say, I wonder if she had Caperton playing Keep the Fire Burning. Number two, I would like to, because I don't know, because I am a strawberry, I hear that there are some women that, you know, um, once they've had sex, they can go back to their normal sizes, you
Okay.
know, and maybe, as soon as one came out, she went back to where she originally was, and
Okay.
she was prepared for the next one. But jokes aside, um, from what I've been seeing from certain interviews, is that she's talked about it being something in the first 3 hours. She said if it kept carry on like this, like it was in the first 3 hours, she would have been able to um, continue throughout the thing. So I'd like to think the big ones, the bananas, went through first, and then afterwards, what came through was the figs, and we caught like I don't know.
I'm finished. I'm done. Oh my god, the figs. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fair.
And one of my things is that surely in that situation, like it's one thing to be laying down in bed for 12 hours when you're in your own bed. And even then, I think that's hard for people that, unless you're bedbound and you're told by the doctor to stay in one place. How is it so that that can happen and you have, you know, 1,000 people just getting into you and you just, surely you'd get cramp or something. It doesn't matter what age you are, you get a little bit of cramp.
I mean, was there something to say that she just did it in missionary the whole time?
Well, from what I've seen,
Mm,
because I was there.
you've seen,
No, I'm joking, I'm joking.
okay,
Um,
you've seen. Fair enough. No
I
judgment
saw
here.
there was a, you know, like an Amazon sofa there.
Okay.
Like, one of those well, I wouldn't call it a sofa. It's one of those things where you put your feet on and you
Like a
pick up the
poof.
cushion. Yeah, yeah. It looked
Okay,
like
yeah,
four
yeah, yeah.
poofs, like big poofs
Yeah.
that she had it, supposedly had it, because to be honest, I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Okay. I don't know. I would think after 3 hours she'd be pretty numb anyway. I don't think even the size would even matter at that point because the friction would have been too much.
But what do you think, like, what do you like when you were in that situation, like you said, I want 1,000. Let alone, you went through your 100 and you went 1,000. Like, surely you can't be thinking, I'm counting down 1,000 men being in me. Like, you couldn't be going like, you know, 1,999, 998. You'd have to think of something. Like, me personally, well, I was gonna say me personally, but
You already
if
said it, so own it. Yeah, you personally.
if I was in that
This is your voice.
situation, I'd think I'd have to have some, earpods in my ears or something. Like, have a music playlist in my head.
Okay. So
So at
maybe she did
least.
have playlists playing, I don't know. I don't know what the setup was. Like, I would want something atmospheric. You don't want to be hearing the sounds of 1,000 men groaning, right? That's just gross. And I just think, like, maybe she
But
would
is
have
it
something to kind of get her in the mood. Maybe she even had porn on, who knows? Like.
but is it more gross than having 1,000 men on you? Like,
Well,
I mean, the
she
moaning is
must.
nothing compared to.
Okay, right. She must enjoy it. I mean, there's kinks out there, which is that way inclined. So maybe she's got the kink, where she really just wants to have that kind of, you know, she just wants to be run through. And that's her kink. And if that's the case, then she might have got turned on with every single guy that went in. She probably got more and more turned on, which is why she went to 1,057. Like, you would stop if your like aim is like 1,000 and you're like, I am dead. I've been doing this for like 12 hours straight. I am dry as a rock. Like, I'm just loose. I'm numb. And you hit the target and you're done. That's it. You got what you want. Like, let me just get out of there. But she continued going after she reached the goal. So clearly she's enjoying herself. And fair play to her, Why not? You got sex positive women out here doing what they want to do. They're not harming no one as long as they use protection and everyone was safe. I don't see there being a problem with it.
You know what? As you say that, I mean, there's a positive side of things on a mental side, not the fact that people are going in to enjoy a moment with you, but the fact that, just to feel that so many people want to be involved in that history with you is amazing to a point. I mean, regardless of what it is, I mean, there's people out in the world that wish they had, someone that would spend 5 minutes with them, let alone, you know. So I mean,
And loneliness is a current epidemic. Like, there's so many articles about it right now, especially post pandemic.
yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think there's so many things that can go with this, where you can flip it on the positive side and say, with so much suicidal, things happening throughout the year and people dying through stress and the rest of it, like, just this subject where, people took their time out to adventure in this situation, that it means that there's people out there that, you know, could get involved in things to stop people from feeling lonely.
Mm.
So I mean, it's big subject, um, a big subject to make a lot of people question a lot of things, and not. I mean, and the fact that as humans, it also makes you think, like, who are these people? Who are these thousand people? Like, like, I'm surely some of them are gonna be, single. Some of them might even be gay. Some people may be bind is it binary bind
Non-binary.
non-binary.
Yeah.
Some people might be married. Some people might be in an open relationship. There's is even though she's the main subject, it'd be kind of interested to find out about these people, and to interview them on a basis where their face or the information would have to be shared, just to think about the um the logics behind or their thought process. Because yeah, she put an idea out there, yeah, people committed to it, but why did they commit to it, you
Yeah.
know
Like, we
and I
know the
mean,
purpose for her doing it. She's been vocal about it.
yeah,
But what was the attraction for these men?
yeah.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there's things out there like dogging and stuff like that, where and swingings is whatnot. But even then, like, when it goes down to the majority of swing clubs, it's a thing where, especially the professional, and even, well, I don't know. I mean, I've not experienced it as yet, but um,
Yeah.
they would hold a certain a catalog of information to hold to make sure everything's safe. But at the same time, I believe she had said that people need to bring their passports and stuff like that. So surely they would have to do the testing. So in another level, I'd ask the questions of where did people get their certificates from? Because as far as I've been told, is that Dean Street is going through some sort of I think they're sending all of their clients other places, and I think Hammersmith is another one that's probably known where they do the testing.
But you could do
Um,
testing online now.
yeah, that's true, but I mean, the thing is, well, I'd assume that the person that that wanted this special occasion to happen would make sure that everyone to come through qualified. I don't mean qualified on how good they are in the bed, but more qualified on they're not having diseases and whatnot.
Yeah, clean bill
As
of
much
health.
as
Yeah.
you might have condoms on, people can carry viruses through their hands and shit. So and especially if they're touching themselves before the putting a condom on, or they put the condom on and they try to see if they can get some more inches into the um the condom, they would have to touch it. So I would barely share a drink with anybody that I didn't trust, let alone
That's
But
true. That's true. And actually, HIV is massively on the rise. I think I read a statistic earlier this week where it's risen by 43% in amongst the heterosexual demographic. So
yeah.
heterosexual females and males have risen in HIV diagnosis by 43% on last year, like the previous year or something. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, all I would like to think is that with her doing this thing, and it's not just her. I mean, she's the main name, but surely you'd have to have a team of people behind you. Like, I'd hope that she did have a lot of people behind her, just on the level of safety,
Well,
because
yeah, I mean, if you're going to do something like this, I think initially, like Inception, right? You would have the thought, I want to break this record. You would have somebody that you would go and like speak in confidence with, saying, I've had this idea, I want to do this. And they'd either talk you into it and say, yeah, I support you in this, I think this is a great idea. Or they'd say, no, 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 I actually think you're a bit crazy, like you should step off this ledge. And, you know, the people who have been there, egging her on, saying, yeah, I think you should do this, they probably are the people who would benefit from maybe monetizing this event. Like, obviously, she's broken a world record, so she's going to get money somehow from that. But I'm sure
Yeah.
that they would have taken some video footage. I'm sure they would have had to get um, like signatures from the guys to say that they were happy to be recorded, to have this information also printed. Because I think everybody who takes part would also be part of the Guinness World Record. So I'm pretty sure if it's all done properly and above board, their names would be down anyway. There would be no anonymity. So yeah, I think probably it could be quite lucrative, especially if like you've got guys coming out saying, "Oh yeah, I was part of the 1,500, well, 1,057 guys," and then they're getting like their stories out there. They're making maybe not money off of it, but they can sell their stories to make money.
Yeah, but I doubt like you would have to be like you'd have to have a mastermind to be legitimately someone that's involved in it and have proof that you were involved in it, because really and truly, even if you was involved, to go somewhere and say that I was truly involved, you'd have to show evidence. And if there's no evidence, you just as you know, there's a million people that can say that was involved in it.
Yeah,
And I'm sure there's probably is a million people out there that saying that they're involved in it. And even if you was involved in it and you can say you saw five other people in there that you recognized, no one's gonna believe you, because it's a thing where your face isn't the your face isn't the brand. So as much as you might have contributed, you're facing in the brand. And I mean, even on a level of, let's think of something that's away from the subject of sex, like, but let's think about the music, like music industry. Like, there's people that get involved in creating something unless they've got some sort of footage or some sort of data to show that they was involved. Someone can say a protest to say that they wasn't involved. They
yeah,
can say that within a room, and then even then, you got to find a lot of paperwork or paper trail to be able to go and say, yeah, I was, or that person was involved. We do owe you, or do we do. And at the same time, it's a big burden to have, because we're not in the stages where 20 years ago, you could talk about being involved in something and it will kind of get lost in a source somewhere, because you've not got that much of a footprint as you do now. um if you talk about being involved, every deal that you can have, you could be a millionaire and fuck yourself up, because you are now, or your clients now know what you do. And
yeah,
you're and great business is about privacy, and people that don't understand business or whatnot will be easily led to jump in a situation and go, yeah, I was part of that. But you have to be in a place where you get judged, like, the next job you go for, the next place you go and buy something in Lidl's or whatever, people gonna go, oh, you're that person, or I don't want to serve you, or whatever. um you know People don't realize that in certain situations they have freedom and the ability to move around freely. And when you do something like that, you don't move around freely,
mm,
you know and at the same time, you're unless you have a certain narrative, you ain't blonde and you don't have blue eyes. So, and it's also stereotypes as well. Like, if you're British, then maybe. If you're something else, then maybe. But it's not a guarantee that you're going to have, um,
mm.
it's going to be worth you opening your mouth. You know, you got the chance to open your trousers, and and you got what you got, and enjoy that moment. You know.
Yeah, I think people forget as well, like everybody's got access to social media, and when you put something in the public domain, then it can haunt you at any point of your life for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And I think being part of something like this could be very damaging for future careers. You don't know if somebody, maybe signed up to do it as part of a dare, and they're like a college student. They could be studying law, and then later on down the line, they qualify to be a lawyer, and then they're standing in court and they want to discredit him. So they say, weren't you one of the 1,057 people who slept with that girl that time? Completely ruins his career because he's now got this reputation as being unserious.
Well, I mean, and that's the simple side of things, because the fact is, when you start thinking about like family ties, like you can control what you can control, but you can't control what other people think about their families.
Mm,
So y- y- I mean, the best persons to be involved in that situation would have to be single with no family,
yeah,
to be honest, because they can control that. But
yeah. But
and
then they'd have to
anybody
be
else,
like that for the rest of their life.
yeah, yeah. Or I mean, I don't necessarily think for the rest of your life, but I mean, you have to be in a situation where you have a lot of things going for you that when you have people tracking down your information, they can't get it. But even then, you have people in this world that will challenge, um will make a challenge to track down where you are.
Mm,
So, you know, the one that will be talking the most and saying that they have all of these things going and they've got million pounds in the family, blah blah blah. There'll be someone that loves hacking that will find you down, find out that you got five kids, six grandchildren, your mom lives here, and you be the talk of the town,
yeah,
and there's no, unfortunately, I mean, there's only one person that will be able to get the reward from this, and it's the person that people be putting their fingers at because she said the idea. You know, it was an idea that she could achieve without all of these people. So
mhm,
who's better off and who's worse off
yeah,
because she could sell the footage because there'd be, was it 12 hours full of footage, break it down to maybe about 8 hours full of footage if you're breaking down cuts and whatever, and she's charged £8 a piece every 20 minutes or whatever. £8, does a package deal where she could get, people can buy things, and then the subscribers, you're getting so much money,
yeah,
so on a business side of
mhm,
things, it's very, very, I wouldn't say lucky, but I would say if you've got a good team and you've worked it out properly, then you're laughing because really and truly, after doing that, you should have been able to make enough money to not do anything sexual again.
unless she wants to. But yeah,
Yeah, but she might next thing you know, I mean, we don't know how long she could live for. She might be, she might not live any long. She might be dying or something like that. I'm not saying that she is,
yeah,
but I'm saying
just
when
to
you think
take a
about
very morbid turn. But yeah,
no, but I mean, like when you think about reasons why people do certain things, it's because they know more than you.
yeah.
So
So there
people will
could be
make a
an
judgment.
ulterior motive to why she was inspired to do this thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it
at the
could
end
be
of the day, she got what she wanted. So I guess the question is, what's the fallout from this? What's the long term impact? Like maybe you're right. It could be that she's got some sort of terminal illness and she's done this because she wants to leave like a massive nest egg for her family. Or it could be that she's got a kink and she just wanted to capitalize and monetize her kink to the utmost point possible, so much so that it's almost a gimmick at this point. You know, I mean, we don't know. I just really hope that she doesn't have, because there was, I don't know if it was her or if it was somebody else who did 300 men and then afterwards lived to regret it and was like, that was like my one regret in life was sleeping with those 300 men. Like, I really hope that she doesn't, like, say after the hype has died down and everything settles, and she has time to kind of think of the impact that it's had on herself. Like, I hope that she's still capable of having that self-respect, saying, I wanted to do this, this is what I wanted, and doesn't live to regret it. And I hope that she's got a really good support network supporting her throughout this process. And I really truly hope that she can gain access to therapies as well, just to talk it out. Because the last thing you want is for people to capitalize off something like this and goad her into doing it so that they can also, push their agenda of making money from her. And then she ends up dealing with all of this mental health fallout and there's no one there offering her support. Like, I really hope that, the team behind her actually support her throughout the whole thing. and not just leave her be. Because you see it where people get famous and then they just fly off the handles, they start doing drugs, they maybe turn to like harsher things, they die through mysterious ways, or like Karen Carpenter, she ended up having an eating disorder and then dying, and nobody doing anything to well, they did try and help her, but not to the extent where they're actually successful. Do you know what I mean? If you really want to push somebody and support them, you can. They need to feel like they have that support network there.
Well, I'd like to think that, outside of her people, that she can afford to have that support professionally, because you know we always have people that will say they'd be around, throughout your life until they're not around in your life. But if she can afford to have, the right people, that will come at a cost, that will give her support, then I hope she's able to do that, and I hope she can pay for at least, you
Mm,
know, a consistency of, 3 years, because I don't think it's something that would be able to, um, get over straight away, because even if, you know, um, she doesn't do anything for the next few months, things can creep up, and then people's lives do change. So, and different circumstances will make her think about it in different ways because of what people bring to her. And you can't really plan these sort of situations. Like, you meet somebody new and you guys are getting along and whatnot, and then someone brings in that thing, and then someone makes you think differently.
mm,
So, and the thing is, you can have a support system, but not everyone's going to know the answers. And you need to have a level of different people that you can talk to, that specialize in different levels of um help, to help you, because I don't think it's a case where necessarily one person could help. I think it's one of those situations where, you know you have a reference, so someone recommends one thing, and you go to somebody else to hear what they've got to say, because the second person might give the best information, or the first person might give the best information, or maybe you might find out that no one can help you because they've never been in that situation. But it's
mm,
more than psychological. It's not a situation where someone's forced themselves on you. It's a situation where you've invited someone to be on you. So yeah, it's a weird one. And the thing is as well is that you have people that have regrets for not doing something, and then you have people that regret for doing something. Um, I had a conversation with someone once that told me that, when she was younger, she had a gangbang, and now she's older, having she's got kids and she's married. It's like she regrets those days. But I counteracted that question and said, "But did you have a good time? Did you enjoy it?" And she said, "Yeah, she did." So I'm like, you can't regret that. It's your past. Not
exactly.
necessarily. It's not saying that you're gonna do it now. You might not have the hips for it. This lady might not have the one that went for the 1,000 might not have the hips for it, because you
Oh
know.
gosh, we're getting technical out here. I mean,
Well,
at the end of the day, you are a
it's a
product of
workout.
your history. You know, it is a workout. It is, but you are a product of your history. She might not have got married and had her kids had she not have had those experiences in her past. And equally so, imagine she got married younger, had her kids, and then ended up living a mundane life where she never experienced those things. She would be constantly thinking about it, and that might encourage her to cheat later on in life. Like getting it out of her system at a younger age, when she's virile, has the hip mobility to do so, you know, it's almost like you can say, do you know what? I've had my glory days. I've enjoyed myself. I've got it out my system, and now I'm happy to settle down and live a life of monogamy. If that's what her situation is, I mean, I can't comment because I don't know the person personally, but each to their own. And if you can live your life in a happy situation, and you know, the regret for her was that she had that experience, but I think the regret would have been far greater had she not have had the experience. Does that make sense?
I believe that.
Yeah. So who knows? At the end of the day, like people can say what they want about her, like, but I think she she knew what she wanted. She executed it. She did it to the best of her capabilities, and now she's hopefully going to monetize it. So fair play to her. You know, people are going to chat absolute shit about her, and she shouldn't give a rat's ass what people think. Because at the end of the day, it's her body, it's her life, and how she chooses to live it. It's up to her. Everyone's opinion is a moot point because ultimately we don't have to live her life. You know, people shouldn't even have the right to judge her because it's her body. You know,
Well, you say people don't have the right to judge her. I think that when you put something into play, people have the right to have an opinion. So you cannot take away someone's opinion. If you put something out in a private thing where no one knows about, then people listen to things through hearsay. But even then, they make an opinion. But this is something that's been put out there as a bless you, has
thanks.
been put out there to get the exposure for being something that's never been done before. Also to rack in the crowd of people to maybe to get the subscribers. Maybe it's I mean it's a great business move. Um, even if like I was assuming that either way, if she did it or didn't do it, she would have got the content in. Like she would have
Yeah,
got the followers or whatever. They would have got the people talking about her. All of these different things that up until she did the 100 I don't know if she did the 100 men. I think she did it with the other porn star, but don't quote me on it because I'm not too sure. But they now have or she now has more subscribers to want that information. I mean, if I was her or part of her team, I'd be like, just tell people to subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. And it's coming this month, it's coming next month, and everybody has to subscribe to get the chance to see the video. And it might be a video that might drop in 9, 12 months. But she would have had people subscribing and she'd be able to take, even whatever, £4 or whatever she charges, and she would have made a killing
yeah,
before the video. So I mean that's the great business sense. But I got a counter question to ask you. Do you
okay.
think it made a difference her age? Do you think she should what if a 50-year-old said she wanted to do that? Or 60-year-old said she wanted to do it?
I mean,
Or a 40-year-old?
she's in her 20s, right?
Yeah, I think she's 24.
Yeah. Does age make a difference? I think she would have less people interested if she was older.
Why not? Why?
I just think that's how society is, you know? They look at women as having an expiration date, you know? Once a woman hits menopause, they're not really interested in a woman anymore anyway. I mean, the libido drops anyway once you get through menopause, so I doubt somebody who's seasoned to that point would even fathom doing something like this. But I think age does make a difference. I also think that when you're in your 20s, your brain is still kind of in its adolescent phase.
Hmm.
And so you are more likely to have like ideas of risky behaviors and actually follow it through rather than when you're in your 30s, when you're in your 40s. Do you know what I mean? So, for example, from the age of about, let's say, 12 to like 25, that's when you're going to do your most riskiest behaviors because your brain, it kind of develops at a slower rate than your ability to like risk assess. Yeah. So you're kind of not, your first and foremost thought isn't to like preserve your life, it's to experience life almost, if that makes sense. So I feel like somebody who's older anyway would probably think too much about the risks involved, whereas she's probably more in that kind of jump now and figure it out later phase. So
Yeah.
yeah, age I feel like age does make a difference. Also, no offense, but I feel like the older you get, the less people's opinions matter to you because you become more self assured with age. You become wiser. to things. And I think that when you're in your 20s, you're always seeking approval from people. And even if you're very anti seeking approval and you're anti social media, ultimately everybody wants to be liked. It's intrinsic to the human experience. So I would say that you would be more likely, like, she would be more likely to do this now because she also knows she's going to gain a huge amount of following. Like, even bad publicity is good publicity. Like, people are talking about her. You know,
Yeah, but
this is something that is going to impact her life, like, greatly. So for
yeah,
her,
but
she's probably getting a lot more positives than negatives at this point, at this age. But for an older woman, I don't think that matters as much.
I don't think she'd be getting more positive than negative because from the social media will do what the social media does. Like everyone's got opinion, and everyone will say something ridiculous like, you know, I'm sick of this country because of that situation, or you know that the word is just the world is disgusting, or whatever the case is. I mean, for me, those people that make those stupid opinions are people that have not moved out of their area, or gone further than their job and back home,
Yeah,
because
they're
there was
stuck
a
in their
hell of a lot
comfort
of stuff.
zone. Very small
Yeah,
world. Yeah.
yeah. But the reality is that I don't think she'd be getting positive as equally as negative, because I spoke to a couple of people that are in the porn industry, and they said that she makes the porn industry look bad because of that situation. Like, but the reality is, you know, unless another porn star is going to go up and say, I will take the challenge on, or if all the porn stars decide that that's good, dude. No, she's not making them look bad because she is just the one that stands out differently to everybody else.
Yeah.
Um, she could be, and I'm gonna hate this quote. I'm gonna quote, but you know how she could be the other side of the version of Kanye West, of just doing something crazy, completely crazy,
Okay.
because it is completely like it's a situation where, like, I don't know what age I was, or as a female, like if I was a female, I couldn't ever think of an age where I would want to be in a situation like that. I'd feel like I'm fucking bored, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
I mean,
and sweat, like the different types of sweat on my body, like that
I
was.
mean, are they really exerting themselves that much after a couple of seconds? I doubt it. Like,
I mean, but you then get hairy men as well, like, you know,
I
all
mean,
different sorts.
some people like hairy men. You know,
That is true, but
you're thinking about your own preferences and dislikes here. But like, you're
no, no,
really
no.
trying to.
But I believe that everyone has a dislike, whether they talk about it or not. There's
Of
gonna be
course, but then,
something.
but we don't know what her vetting process was. Maybe she was like, I mean, I don't know what her preference is. I don't really do, like, for me, uh, I don't really go on looks. So maybe hers might not have been aesthetic. Maybe she could have been like, I need to make sure that everybody's got a great hygiene level, you know? So before they come into the room, somebody's got to do a sniff test to them or something. Or it might be that, she wants everybody to have great teeth, good dental hygiene, I'm really talking about my likes and dislikes here because I really hate poor teeth.
Well,
It's just,
I'm gonna say something funny, but also, well, it's gonna sound funny. I hope that at that moment of, the intimacy with all of the people that shared a connection without sharing a connection, because once they kind of connected with her, they all have the same connection.
they all
you
connected
know
with each other as well.
yeah,
That
so
that's the other thing, like, you're talking about her sleeping with 1,000 men, but
yeah,
ultimately, Mr. 1,000 himself has now slept with
yeah,
999 other men because they've
yeah.
all been up in there. So, you can judge her as much as you want, but judge the men as well. If you're gonna judge her, judge them. It's not fair for her to get all the slack. It was her idea, but her idea would have only been a concept if there was nobody there to execute it with her. So,
See, I wasn't gonna judge her. What I was more gonna say is that I hope that at that point of time, it was a situation where you had a mixture of different races in that environment as one, you
okay.
know.
So you
you
feel like she's doing basically like a kind of UN world peace Geneva kind of thing,
no, no,
like
no,
through
but
her we are healing the rifts of the world. No segregation, nothing. We accept all in the whole. Like
we are the one, we are the
we
future
are one.
to make a
No
better day,
judgment
yeah?
on religion, race,
No,
height,
no,
hair. We
no,
accept
but
you might oh, size.
I think that would have been a great thing just to, like, all of the people that normally hate each other, they're just all up in there, like, spotting each other.
That's excellent. Oh my god, we need to give her a Nobel Peace Prize then, is what you're saying, yeah?
No, 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 no. But I mean, like, the thing is, you're not just gonna get one type of people. Like, it's a post. Like, it's once you're there, it's a non-judgmental space.
It is. It
Like,
has to be. It actually literally has to be. That has to have been one of the most non-judgmental spaces in existence.
we should have went down there. To be honest, we should have went down there. We should, hear me out. Hear me out. We should have went down there and like been on one of those Boris bikes and just recorded that like the queue.
Listen, I can't even ride a bike, so you would have had to be on the Boris bike. I'd just be
No,
on the back holding on for dear life. Or I
no,
would
no.
have
But
been in
what
the little basket.
you can get one of the electrical ones, so you just start pedaling a little bit, and then you just control it by gears, and you're
Listen, you ever seen one of those motorbikes with the little side cart, yeah? You can ride the
like
motorbike and I'll be in the side cart, yeah?
like Romps and Gomet, yeah. You
I
just there
even
with
got my
the
goggles.
cheese, you just there with the cheese and crackers, yeah.
The Wensleydale.
Yeah. Wait, wait, wait! I missed someone. Let's do it again. Take one, take two.
That'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
We're keeping them refreshed and entertained whilst they're waiting for their, 30 seconds of fame.
I think the problem would be though is if we went down there, we probably got one of us would forget what we're doing. Is be like, oh, are they waiting for a new store to open?
And we'd just join the queue. We'd be like, oh, fuck it, we're here now. Like,
Yeah,
we wandered into the room like, oh, yeah. Whoops.
but they got Starbucks up there.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God, too much. Too much. Fire. Ugh.
But yeah, going back to like the age, I think you said all of the things where as a youngster, you know, you're still trying to figure out what, you know, I wouldn't say life, but the levels of boundaries and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I think you have the other side of the scale where you're like people look at someone and go, you're too old to be doing that. You know, they can never say that to her because she's young,
Yeah.
but someone older, like, like how you do it, like are you strapped if your arms strapped up to the ceiling and your legs open up, like I don't know, and I think to be honest, I think there should be a older woman or man out there just the narratives where someone just look at them by their age or whatever and go, I don't think you could do it.
I would love to have a breakdown of like all the demographic information for the people who came to have their moments with her, because that for me would be interesting. Because you're right, like I would love to see like the breakdown of like age range, religion, race. Like I would love to see it all in black and white, statistics, in numbers, in percentages.
I was told that one of the youngest was 19,
Oh, okay.
and I heard
But that's
that
only
one of
like
the
4 years younger than her, 5 years younger than her.
yeah, and I think their mum was like trying to pull him out of the queue, sort of thing, and he kept coming back.
Okay.
But like, what do you do as as a parent? What do you do in that situation? Do you want your child to be, do you go, I support everything you do? And I don't mean her because I know that she already has her mum support. Like I think her mum did an interview with,
Yeah.
supporting stuff. And to be honest, I'm glad she's got support with her family like that, because you get judgment from all over the place. I think at least one could do for sanity is support your family members. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
I
lot of
agree with
people.
you. It's difficult, like when you're saying situations like that the mum is actively trying to deter her son, pulling him out of the line, and he ultimately still does it anyway. Like at 19, you don't really know what you're doing. You're still basically a child. Like, I mean,
But he doesn't want to think about what they're doing. He wants to do something.
I get that.
You're not
I
you're not
do.
thinking about the logic about, like, okay, well, after this, I want to go university or whatever.
But
At
the
that
thing
point
is,
in time,
at 19, what are they doing at university? They are getting up to debauchery anyway. They're drinking like fish. You got student
yeah.
nights where they're offering shots for £1. Like, you know, and actually, in contrast to America, where they can't even drink until they're 21, like, I just think, somebody of the age of 19 cannot understand like the true mental impact that being involved in something like this could have on them. Like, I think for something like this, it needs to be a 25 and above. I think you need to be 25 and above because I think by that point, you really start to understand a bit more about the world and your
But that
impact on the world.
that's your opinion as a therapist.
Yeah.
And at the same time, one of uh, her brand is the brand of she wants to work with people that are barely legal. So which means that once you touch the like 18 or 19 is a bit, well, 18 is legal, but 19 is barely legal. And that's what she planned to go to Australia and do. And I think she got banned from going over there for doing that. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I know you're not judging, but your face is judging. But
No, it's not that. It's just I think when you're trying to target such a vulnerable group, it becomes a little bit more of a conversation that needs to be happening. Because barely legal, I know I mean, there is a whole industry, based on barely legal. But generally, the people involved in barely legal are not really barely legal. They're just young looking. They're just people who look younger than they are, right? It's the same thing like in Hollywood. You've got all these people pretending to be high school teenagers, but they're in their 30s. Like
uh-huh.
even Ariana Grande's what, 34, 32? You've got her pretending to be a teenager in college in Wicked. And Cynthia Erivo is like 36. You got people in their 30s pretending to be teenagers. And that's basically my understanding of what barely legal is. People who look incredibly young, but are actually their years far surpass that. I think when you're actually actively targeting such a vulnerable group, like there needs to be a conversation.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw a question at you as a female, and the idea of where some would say that in some circumstances, I can't remember if they're saying the male or the female is more mentally um grown. Do you think her being a female meant that she's more mentally grown in knowing better, or
So, I mean, psychologically speaking, yes, the female does develop faster than the males, but I don't know if I would say that means that she automatically should know better. I don't think that's an automatic thing because you're a product of your environment as well. So at one point you're saying it's a nature versus nurture kind of debate here, you know?
yeah? And to be honest, whether she knows better or not, it's got nothing to do with. I don't think it's got to do with knowing better or not. It's got to do with the experience, like dealing with people that will be happy to deal with their experience. Because in the end of the day, you're not trying to go deep into it more than you guys are having sex and having fun.
Mm,
It's a fun situation. It's not one that should be stressed about. I mean, people are going to make it stressful because that's what people do. But in the end of the day, Um, but I think one of the reasons why she's doing it is just because it's a fun thing, and it's you get people that are sexaholics, and they cheat and they do whatever, and you know is is her wanting to do what's on the list of things that she enjoys a bad thing for people to make any judgment on? No, I mean it's like you have a whole food shop next to a junk food shop. You just decide if you're going in there or not, which shop you're going into.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, I'm saying in one parts it could be seen as wrong, and in other parts it could be like, no one could say who's psychologically old enough to be able to do stuff unless you're a therapist in a situation where you're involved and you're going, okay, well, mentally this person doesn't shouldn't be involved. But then, does that take away the fun side of things, or does that take away it takes away the options. It doesn't take away the fun side of things. I mean, it takes away the options. If you start going into the logic of, is that person thinking logically? Is that person, mentally stable? Is whatever. I mean, if you think about the negatives from it, is that this situation could fuck up a lot of shit for everybody in the situation. Whether it's, you now have stalkers, because really and truly, you're not going to remember all these thousand people,
No.
and someone's gonna track you down for the whatever. And there's a lot of negative that can come from it, but at the same time, there could be a lot of positive, because in the end of the day, it's in history, people are now in a point where women are able to have a voice to make a choice of what they want, where there's been cases where they haven't been able to. And at the same time, she is also in a country that allows her to have choice, where in other countries where that could even be dreamed of,
Mm.
let alone being able to wear your own outfit. She's out here um exposing her freedom to express herself, which there's positive and negatives, and there's negatives and positives.
Yeah.
So I say good for her, and then at the same time I say, really? Because in the end of the day, it's still. I mean, it's not any more madness than what happens in the world. There's a hell of a lot of madness, and someone sleeping with 1,000 people, as long as she ain't killing nobody. But
Exactly.
but there's so many different
Exactly.
ways to kill somebody as well. So
Well, this is what I'm saying. As long as everyone's got the right support network and nobody, risked anyone's health through STIs, STDs, you know, then it's clean, wholesome, fun, if you will. What?
yeah, and I don't think it's just her that would need support as well. I think some of the people that got
Oh yeah,
involved in it
absolutely.
need.
That's what I'm generalizing that comment, not just to her, but to everybody
Yeah,
involved. You know, and ultimately, like you said before, she's just executing her right to be able to do what she wants with her body. We have not had the right to do that throughout the entirety of history. It's only relatively new that women have this, you know, sexual liberation, as we know from the introduction of contraceptives, where people could choose to, have sex and not get pregnant. So, if you think about it, it's just the evolution of that we're finding ourselves here now at this point. And I think, fair play to the girl. She wanted to do this and she's done it, and she's become a hot topic for it. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as everybody was consensual, which it was, you know, what's the harm? That's really ultimately what we're asking. What's the long-term impact? Is there going to be a lot of fallout? Hopefully not. Hopefully everybody's got the right support networks available to them. But who knows? Only time will tell.
Well, I've got one more thing to say on the subject,
Okay.
and this is a question to say: do you think how much do you think her looks would have been on the subject that allowed her to be able to do what she did?
Uh, it's a good question. Ultimately, I think the judgment changes. I think, people are going to look at her and think she's pretty, she's young, she looks like she comes from like wholesome stock, if you will, and would be asking why would she want to do that, And I think if she wasn't pretty, then people would be saying, oh, she's doing that because maybe this is the best way for her to get herself out there because she's not got much else to offer people. Equally, do I think she would have been as successful in her endeavors to break the record if she wasn't pretty? My answer to that would be yes, I think she'd be very capable of doing so still if she wasn't pretty, because I think men will sleep with anything majority of the time. So I don't think she would have struggled. What I think she would have struggled with is having so much traction on social media and having so many people talking about her. I think if she was not pretty and she wasn't young, people wouldn't give a shit as much. That's ultimately what I think the difference would be.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But then at the same is objective because you say that she's pretty, and someone else might look at her and say she's not. And when
I
people
should change it
say,
to conventionally pretty then.
yeah, I mean, and even when you go down to um, her stock and where she's come from or whatnot, um, like where do we make that opinion on? Do we make that opinion on her face, her skin, her hair, her dress
Yeah,
sense?
it's the package. It's the overall package. When you look at her, she looks like somebody who was taught how to look after herself. Her face didn't look like it had pimples. Her hair looked luscious. She was wearing good clothes. Dare I say, the few times I've seen her, she's been dressed almost modestly, would you say? She's not like she had loads of things on show. She was dressed pretty well. You know, I wouldn't say she was the most educated person based on what I'd heard from her interview, but also she didn't seem like somebody who wasn't informed. She could be somebody who's playing up to the cameras. She could be somebody who's trying to give this impression of vulnerability so people don't, judge her in one way, but will judge her in another way. Oh, maybe she doesn't know any better. Maybe this is the best that she could achieve because she's not very smart. Like, ultimately people do like when people come across as vulnerable. They feel like a kind of sensitivity towards that sort of thing. So, yeah, I think when I say stock, I mean, like, when you look at a person, you can make a snap judgment on somebody's appearance and say they look healthy, they look well put together, and she looks healthy, she looks well put together.
So you're saying, generally people like a good story.
Oh, definitely. We would be
Okay,
nothing without the stories that we tell.
that is true. That is true. Okay, well, I think we have to move on from this subject because I believe this is one of those subjects that can be continuously talked about because there is so many angles where you can go with it.
Yeah,
You can go to a point where, okay, when she's ready to get married, what if she wants kids, you know, um, like other family members and a lot of things or friends or where she grew up and the rest of it. There's so many things that can be tied to it. But I'm gonna say we move on to the subject unless it gets brought up again and we must continue to it because I'm sure if we then invite other people into this conversation then there will be different opinions and instead
absolutely.
of it just being both of us go back and forth with our views and things, another person that joins the dynamic would change the opinion to the next stage. But what I'm gonna ask, let's go to the next subject is I recently found out that someone that used to be in Hollyoaks has died.
Who?
So there was a. Let me see what the person's name is.
I'm looking this up now.
What is his name? Let me see.
Also, we've just made it to an hour on this chat.
Okay.
Should we stop and start again?
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
So